Hello friends, I am Professor Imran. In today's video, we are going to understand the concept of call by value. Well, to understand the same, let's quickly try and write the program and try and understand the concept as and when we go through every line of the program. So here we go. First and foremost, we'll be declaring the header files. So hash include stdio.h, hash include conio.h. Well, having declared the header files, now we'll start with definition of main. Since we are not going to return anything from main, so I have mentioned it as void main. And then the curly brace. Now I'm going to declare two variables, that is integer a, b. In this particular program, I'm going to use call by value and I'm going to pass the value a and b to a user defined function, and I'll call that function as swap. Now that I'm going to use a user defined function, it is essential to declare that function right at the beginning. So I'm going to declare it globally. So here it goes. I'll declare it as void because my function is not going to return any value. Then I'll write the name of the function, that is swap, and the values that I'll be passing to that function are going to be integer values. So I'll write integer comma integer as I'll be passing two values. So this is how you declare it, and since I've declared it outside main, so this is a global declaration. Now I'm using two variables a and b, all right, and then I'll punch in CLR SCR, which means I want to clear any previous results. Followed by that, I'll write a printf statement which mentions enter the values of a and b backslash n, this is how I have mentioned it. Then scanf, I have to accept the value for a and b. Both of them are integers, so the format specifier is %d. Then one more %d for b, double quotes complete, comma. Now to accept a, whatever number you have punched in will go to a if you mention address of a. Similarly, address of b. So the number that you have entered, the first number will go to address of a, the second number will go to address of b. This is complete. Now when you have both the numbers, we'll be calling the function that we have declared on the top, and we'll be passing the value of a and b. So here it is, swap, that is the name of the function, a comma b. This is how you call a function, that is mention the name of the function and pass the values to that. After doing that, here once you return from this function, I'm going to print the value of a and b again. So printf value of a is equal to %d and value of b, since there is no space, I'm mentioning it here, is equal to %d double quote complete comma a comma b. So these are going to be values of a and b after you return from this swap function, all right? And then I'll mention get ch. This function is going to help us maintain the result on the screen after you execute. So this is the definition of main. Now let's quickly define the function swap. So while defining, I need to mention the return type of swap, which is void, name of the function, that is swap. The values that I'm going to pass are going to be integer values. So to collect these integer values, I need to have integer variables. So I'll mention integer c comma integer d. Now, because the program is to send two values to this user defined function and swap them, so what am I going to do is I'm going to start the definition of this function. Over here, I'll be mentioning one more variable or declaring one more variable, that is to temporarily hold the value. So that is e And now let me quickly use my logic to swap the values of C and D. So here we go. First, whatever value of C, or as a matter of fact even D, I'll put that in E. So how do I do that? E is equal to D. So by doing this, whatever value is there in D, which means the value which was passed through B has come to D, the value which was passed through A has come to C. So now I'm putting the value of D in E. So now, which means D can be used. So I'm putting the value of C in D. So whatever was there in C has now been put in D. Now what I can do is whatever was there in E, let's put it in C. So by doing this, what I've done is I have smartly interchanged the value of C and D. Now when I print it here, printf value of C is equal to %D, value of D is equal to %D, double quote complete, comma, C, comma, D. So when I'm going to do this, it will give me swapped values wherein the initial value of C and D were values of A and B. However, when I swap them, now the values are going to be interchanged. But when I go up and when I print the value of A and B, I'll find it out that the value in A and value in B are not changed. The reason behind that was when I had copied the value of A in C and value of B in D, what exactly happened was, let's have a look. So this is one block, this is another block. Let me call this as B, let me call this as A. Then let me call this as C, and let me call this as D. So let's say I have put a value 20 in A and 40 in B. So when I pass the value, I am basically copying this 20 in C and 40 in D. Now, if you check the memory location for A and B are different from memory location of C and D. So when you interchange the values, like when you put this value here and when you put this value here, the interchange takes place on this memory location. However, this memory locations, the values still continue to be 20 and 40. So though the values have been swapped in the called function, in the calling function, the values remain the same. Well, this is the disadvantage of call by value. So if you expect the values to be changed in the called function and you want the same to be reflected in the calling function, then in that case, your call by value will not be sufficient. You will have to opt for call by reference, wherein you are not sending the values of A and B, but you will be sending the address of A and B, which clearly means you will be operating on the same memory location and not different memory location. Well, that's it. That's all about call by value using user defined function. Thank you. To keep learning, keep watching programming.